You know how a bouncy ball reaches these great highs and then keeps bouncing and all of a sudden settles into kind of flat? That's what's happening in the Denver real estate market right now. I'm Heather O'Leary, your Colorado homegirl, and I'm here to bring you your market update. This spring has been actually very puzzling in our market. Prices are remaining essentially flat, and that's really odd and honestly a little bit disappointing. In March, the average price stood at $710,000, while February was just a hair lower at $709,000. There was a noticeable jump in January to February, with January's average price at $680,000. But when compared to March 2024, the average was $707,000. These figures are hardly moving despite the 4% gain from January to February. It makes you wonder if buyer demand can finally catch up to all this inventory. At first glance, the close to list price ratio reports an impressive 99%, and that might suggest a strong seller's market. But this metric doesn't really tell the full story. I sit on the DMAR Market Trends Committee, and we have been debating the data poll because underlying dynamics are far more complex. For instance, seller concessions remain very significant. That's the cash that a seller gives to a buyer at closing. And price drops are very noticeable as well. Megan Aller reports a 5% average price decrease for under contract properties. Also, inspections can play a really important role in how much properties sell for, and pre-inspections are very important. Make sure and check out my video on pre-inspection debates for sellers. Properties linger on the market if they aren't turnkey, and they're getting far less than asking price. There's also an interesting story behind days on market. While the median is at 18 days, average is much higher at 48 days, meaning that while half of the homes are selling relatively quickly, a significant number of them linger on the market, skewing the average considerably. This difference really illustrates how many homes sell very quickly, those turnkey homes, and others sit on the market for far longer than expected. Further, this is actually much different from last year. That median is up 30% compared to last March, and the average is up 23%. The interplay of prices, interest rates, demand, and supply have created this true yo-yo effect. And over the past 3 years, this excess supply was expected to slow price appreciation. And it appears that might actually be happening right now. On the economic and political fronts, there's definitely a sense of division and uncertainty, which I'm not going to get into right now. But the Fed's recent adjustments, which include lowering its growth expectations while still planning for future rate cuts, signal that the economy is cooling down a bit. And this significantly affects the housing market because easing financial pressures, as in lower interest rates, could ultimately make borrowing easier and more attractive for buyers, even with all these broader economic challenges. And of course, adding to the complexity is the new build market, where home builders' unsold inventory just hit a 15-year high, opening up fresh opportunities for buyers. Notably, Lennar is now offering buyer incentives on 13% of a home's sale price, which is a dramatic increase from just 1.5% in the second quarter of 2022. This shift not only provides buyers with more attractive options, but it also signals a significant change in how homes are being marketed in the new build market. Buyer beware. If you go into a new build community without an agent, they will force you to remain unrepresented, so be sure to invite me along. While the market is full of surprises right now, there are plenty of opportunities. Flat appreciation and lingering inventory might seem concerning. However, if you change your lens and look at it a little bit differently, the uptake in pendings suggest that there are more buyers who are getting comfortable with these higher interest rates, and sellers that are priced correctly and staged well will actually get offers in a couple of weeks. And that's what I do. I'd love to help you make good decisions about your next move. I'm Heather O'Leary. Schedule on my Linktree, Meet with Heather, and I would love to have a brief call to answer all your questions.